Ever had that sinking feeling? You've made a purchase, maybe online, maybe in person, and it's just not right. It's faulty, it's not what you ordered, or maybe you've just changed your mind. The first thing that pops into your head is, can I get my money back? And if you're a Monzo user, you might be wondering, can Monzo help me get a refund? That's exactly what we're diving into today. Refunds can be a tricky area, and it's important to know where you stand, especially when it comes to your banking provider. We're going to break down everything you need to know about Monzo refunds, from how they work to what your rights are, and even some tips for making the process smoother. Now, before we get started, it's crucial to understand that Monzo itself doesn't directly decide whether you get a refund. They're the platform that facilitates the transaction, but the decision ultimately rests with the merchant you bought from. Think of it like this: Monzo is the road your money travels on, but the shop is the one who decides whether to give it back. So, how does it all work? Let's say you buy a new gadget online using your Monzo card. A few days later, it arrives, and it's completely broken. Your first step should always be to contact the retailer directly. Explain the situation, provide any evidence like photos or videos of the damage, and politely request a refund. This is the most direct and often the fastest way to resolve the issue. Most reputable retailers have a refund policy in place, and they'll usually guide you through the process. They might ask you to return the item, or in some cases, if it's faulty, they might even arrange for a collection. Once they've received the item or processed your refund request, they'll typically notify Monzo to credit your account. Now, here's where Monzo comes in. Once the retailer initiates the refund, Monzo will process it and return the funds to your account. The time frame for this can vary, but it usually takes a few business days. You'll see the refund reflected in your transaction history, often with a clear description indicating it's a refund. But what happens if the retailer is unresponsive or refuses to issue a refund? This is where things can get a bit more complicated, and you might need to rely on what's known as chargeback. A chargeback is a process where your bank, in this case, Monzo, helps you reclaim your money from the retailer if you've been unfairly treated. Chargebacks are typically used in specific situations, such as when you haven't received the goods or services you paid for, if the goods are faulty or misdescribed, or if you've been charged twice for the same transaction. It's important to remember that chargebacks aren't a guaranteed way to get your money back, and there are specific criteria you need to meet. If you believe you have a valid reason for a chargeback, you'll need to contact Monzo directly through their app or customer support channels. They'll guide you through the process and ask you to provide evidence to support your claim. This might include copies of your purchase confirmation, correspondence with the retailer, and any other relevant documentation. Monzo will then investigate your claim and contact the retailer to dispute the transaction. The retailer will have the opportunity to respond and provide their side of the story. Based on the evidence provided by both parties, Monzo will make a decision on whether to uphold the chargeback. It's important to be aware that chargebacks can take time, sometimes weeks or even months, to be resolved. Monzo will keep you updated on the progress of your claim, but it's crucial to be patient and provide all the necessary information promptly. Now, let's talk about some common scenarios and how they relate to Monzo refunds. Firstly, if you cancel a transaction before it's been processed, you might not even need a refund. In some cases, the transaction might simply be reversed, and the funds will be automatically returned to your account. Secondly, if you've been a victim of fraud or your card has been used without your authorization, you should contact Monzo immediately. They have dedicated teams to deal with these situations and will work with you to secure your account and potentially recover any lost funds. Thirdly, if you're dealing with a purchase made using a third-party platform like PayPal, the refund process might be slightly different. In these cases, you will usually need to initiate the refund through the platform itself, and they will then process the refund back to your Monzo account. One question that often comes up is whether Monzo offers any specific buyer protection schemes. While Monzo doesn't have its own dedicated buyer protection program like some other financial institutions, you are protected by consumer rights laws. These laws provide certain safeguards for consumers, such as the right to a refund for faulty goods or services. Another important point to consider is the time frame for requesting a refund or initiating a chargeback. While there's no strict deadline set by Monzo, it's generally advisable to act quickly. The sooner you contact the retailer or Monzo, the better your chances of getting a positive outcome. Some payment networks also have time limits for disputing transactions, so it's always best to be proactive. So, to summarize, can Monzo refund money? Yes, they can facilitate refunds initiated by retailers and can assist with chargebacks in certain situations. However, they don't directly decide whether a refund is issued. That decision primarily rests with the merchant you purchased from. Your first step should always be to contact the retailer directly. If that fails, and you have a valid reason, you can contact Monzo to explore the possibility of a chargeback. Remember to keep all your documentation, be patient, and communicate clearly with both the retailer and Monzo. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.